All right, Hogue X1 Micro. You know, I think it's really cool. I saw this the other day and I I hadn't been paying attention to Hogue, and so what did they do? They came out with a new knife that I didn't even know existed until a while back, a little while back, not very long ago. And this cool little knife, look at that backspacer. Is that cool? It's a flipper. Yes, it is. And no, this is not new to me as far as Hogue having a button lock knife or having a flipper knife. But this little micro, how crazy is this? And I got the aqua because the other colors were out of stock at the time. So, yes. You know what? This color kind of reminds me of Southern Florida, old neighborhoods in Miami, or Key West, where they have those pastel colors painted on their house. Their houses are like pink and purple and light blue and yellow and green. Woo! Yes, this has got some color. Yes, it does. And I saw that somebody is making a blue one. So I'm sitting there going, oh, but that was out of stock, of course. So grab me a blue one, I think. I may sell this aqua on, although it's kind of intriguing. I mean, I'm not, feeling too feminized by having an aqua. It's kind of cool to have the wild colors, especially when you got aluminum scales, which this is aluminum. Okay. This is a stonewash blade. This is CPM 154 steel, and it's designed by Alan Olishewitz. Cool, huh? Yeah, and look at the pocket clip. How that's curled under like that. Actually, I stood up and tried it in my pocket, and it slides right in and out. It's good. I don't know how well it'll grip overall because of that, but it held. I mean, it didn't seem like it was a danger of falling out, but it actually would go into my pocket. It wasn't too stiff. See, it's got some spring to it, so that's good. And this backspacer is really cool. Yeah. So you got 10 holes in the backspacer. I don't know. Maybe you need ventilation. Maybe you just want a little bit of a design cue. And the button lock, it's nice. I mean, Hogue, they talk about, hey, when you got these frame lock knives and stuff, the problem is to disengage frame lock or liner lock, you got to put your hand down here. And then you're rolling the blade back in, and it's coming down on your thumb or your fingers. And so when you disengage a button lock, no, that's not a danger of having it come down on your fingers, just like that. See, I'm coming around from the backside. Now, it only drops so far because this thing starts hitting interference here. And that's the way that you get it to have this kind of press fit. And inside there's a little detent ball in a piece of metal that comes up and makes contact with this blade. And then there's a little detent hole and it fits right in. This is how you kind of, this is not assisted opening, this is manual. This one is manual. They do actually make this knife with an assisted opening as an option. This is the manual one. So it's a lot like its big brother, the X5. This is the same kind of setup, okay? This is a flipper. This is a manual knife. It's not assisted opening, but it's got, it's a button lock. So it just releases, falls down, not a problem. But it's how the detent ball on a little, kind of like a little spring lock bar that's buried inside here. And if you've ever seen the video of them opening it up and showing you the actual components, it's fairly interesting to do. Maybe I'll put a link to that. It's one of the Hogue people at Blade Show or something showing that, and it was really fascinating to see. I've had one apart, so I've seen it, but yeah. And it's, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, I get that. So the little detent ball, you know, there's a little milled groove and it follows it, and when it gets back into here, it pops into a little hole. When it exits that, it comes over a little ridge, and then it follows a groove all the way around to keep it from having any interference with the ability of the blade to fly open. But it does run interference so that you have some press kind of fit there to where it's running interference enough to where the blade doesn't just drop out of the... In any case, same principle here with the little micro. Small blade though. I mean, check out the big brother, right? So this is like a 4-inch blade. Okay? Yeah, big difference. Wow. Keep them both in my hands. So yeah. Well, let's look at something that may be of a similar nature a little bit. Now this is the cut jack from Steel Wheel, and this is a 3-inch blade. Okay, so this is actually a bigger knife, again, than the X1 Micro. But we're getting closer. See that? So this is under 3-inch. This is a 3-inch blade. This is less than 3 inches. Now, it's not small enough to really be a keychain knife. I mean, you could put it in your hand. You don't have room for all your fingers, or I don't. But, you know, it's still a knife. It's not just a keychain fob toy. It's reasonable enough in size. Now, let's take a look at the Holdout 3, okay, from Cold Steel. Getting there. That's as close as I'm going to get. But that's pretty close, isn't it? Just about there. So if you've ever had the Holdout 3 in your hands, you're pretty close. You got this little kind of glass breaker thing on the end, impact area. So just line it up and you're about there. We'll find out as soon as I recoup my... Oh my God. I'm going to go traveling in my studio because Bertha tried to escape. Fell off my damn table. In any case, so let's check it out. Nope. Can you say 2 3/4-inch blade? Almost. And 6 5/8 right there. So not quite 17. Come on, baby. Come on back. 17 centimeters. Not quite. 16 3/4 centimeters. About 70 millimeter long blade. Yeah. So, I mean, is the Holdout 3 quite 3-inch blade? Nope, not quite. So it's about the same. It's about the same length. Yeah, interesting. But I really like this button lock. I like the aluminum. I've had the Hogues in the G-Mascus, and I do, if I had an EX01 or something, 4-inch drop point, which I used to have, I had it in the green G-Mascus. I think I'd prefer it in the green G-Mascus. I think I'd prefer it in the G-Mascus because, you know, aluminum's a metal, and you drop this on a rough concrete surface or something, and you can scratch this. You know, where well, this is an aluminum handle, but this is that G-Mascus insert here. This stuff wouldn't mark up so well. So really, as a carry and kind of a, you know, a knife that has to take some rough conditions, this will mark up eventually where the G-Mascus probably won't look so bad. But for this type of knife, this is not going to be a real out there hard use type knife. This is going to be more or less a light carry. You know, maybe even a gentleman carry, I guess. I mean, it's pretty light and it's pretty small and it's got really good blade steel. You can go right and left hand, like I said before, with the pocket clip. Although it's really interesting that they did a lot of this design work on this side, but didn't do anything on this side. I don't know. I guess you had the opportunity to do that, right? I mean, you look at the Hogue X1. They put this, you know, they did the same thing on both sides. Okay. Not here. I mean, I think they could have replicated this on the backside. But, you know, either way, I really like the design of this. I like the Elishewitz designs. It's a pretty useful looking blade. Probably not the absolute best slicer in the world, but it can do that. But you have some material here for piercing? Yeah. So you have some strength in this tip? Yeah, you can. So, I don't know how sharp it is. Usually these are pretty sharp right out of the box. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, they're pretty sharp right out of the box. CPM 154 steel, stonewashed, X1 Micro, in case you missed some of this, CPM 154 on this side. You got some traction down here. You've got traction up here, you know, for your thumb and the top of the blade. So, yeah, this could be used pretty enthusiastically, although it's not a huge knife. Comes in different colors other than this. There will be blue ones out eventually, because I see that one of the distributors is having blue ones made. So there will be blue out if you haven't seen them yet. And then there's black, and I think there's a kind of a brownish color, silver as well. So there will be different colors, as well as the aqua. Seems like the aqua is available. Yes, it was. And that's what I got. But you know what? It's okay with me. I'd rather have this than the black. But I don't know about, yeah, I'd rather have just the blue. Let's see how much this thing weighs. Wow, okay. 3.1 ounces. And let's try it again. 3 ounces. Best 2 out of 3? Nah, just kidding. Okay, 3 ounces. 83 grams. It's not much, is it? 2.9 now. So it's 3.1, 3 ounces, 2.9. Your choice. Pretty light, though. Pretty light. No lanyard hole, as I just kind of noticed, because I was thinking about key ring. But, you know, nah, this is too big for a key ring. This is just right for your pocket, though, for, you know, just throwing it in there and not having, you know, you could almost really take this pocket clip off and just throw it in your pocket. It's not that heavy. It's not that big. So either way, sometimes a little tiny knife and it's got a pocket clip and you kind of clip it to your pocket and you're going, why am I doing that? It's kind of suspended way up here in my pocket. It's like, I might as well just throw it in my pocket and let it hit the bottom, you know? I don't know, just the way I think about it. But yeah, it's a cool knife. I like the design. I like the materials. I like the flipper. I like the button lock, you know? I like the backspacer. This ought to be a winner for Hogue. And you know what? I'm starting to, I mean, overall, and if you've been watching many of my videos throughout the months, I tend to favor large knives. But I'll tell you what, you know, there's a real place for these small knives. It's nice to have a light carry. It's nice to have a knife that doesn't intimidate everybody. you can actually use out in public without people thinking you're sword fighting. So yeah, I'm getting it. I guess little by little, I'm getting it. These small knives can do a lot of cutting. They can be used for self-defense. It's amazing how many organs you can still hit at under 3-inch blade. But technically, okay. So they're still very effective, very handy, light, very concealable, don't sag your pocket. Just a lot of cool things about the small knives. And, small and light, well, I'm starting to really like this cut jack too. So this is a smaller knife, really starting to dig that as well. Of course, I use the Holdout 3 a lot. So it's not like, you just kind of finally wake up and figure out some of these really light carry knives. And it's not always a monster that you need to carry. Although I like the monsters. All right, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this knife, Fit and finish is really nice, and of course it's centered, as you can see. But it feels pretty good in the hand. I don't really consider that pocket clip to be a hot spot. It lays pretty flat. But yeah, it's smooth. I like the stone wash. It doesn't print up. But it's showy. It's classy. I think it's kind of classy. But they've made it ambidextrous. It's neat. I don't know if I'd want the assisted opening model. I like this manual one really well. I think I prefer this, definitely. Cool. It only gets smoother. They never put any real bearings or washers in here. They're just kind of like milled into the scales. On this side, especially. See this side? It's weird. If you take one apart, you'll see that. It's, there's no bearings or anything. It's just kind of a interference fit thing. And but it swings free. That's cool. The way the detent ball is set up and everything is very cleverly engineered, but very useful. Feels good in the hand. Kind of gets smoother and smoother as you have it. It kind of just breaks in. But yeah, I'm liking it. I really like the Hogue line. And of course, they make all the gun accessories and stuff. And that's how they started out back in 1968. But been doing this since like '09. So I like what they're doing. I like their designs. And their engineering's pretty good. So never had any problems with their knives. Really good users as well. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate your time. Subscribe if you'd like. You know what we do around here. We love them knives, so stay sharp.